Hello, adventurers. Another Friday, another RPG horror stories. You guys ready to do this thing? Do we have the mental capacity to get through another one of these?
I'm so sorry that I'm like this.
The gastrointestinal capacity to get through it.
Josey, you should just walk around saying that over and over again. Just say, hi, I'm Josey. I'm so sorry that I'm like this.
Yes, actually, I've said to my professors on several occasions, if I could figure out how to shut the fuck up, I would have done it by now.
So you can tell by now that Josey's here.
Also, my poetry teacher called me a whore kind of indirectly, which was very fun.
Well, if the 7-inch pump heel fits.
Those are stilettos. Fuck your pumps.
Sorry, I'm out of touch on hoe fashion. Jim, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My horror story is actually fairly tame compared to all of that. After all that build up, I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint. So,
thank God.
Yeah, all right.
Jim, what you got for me?
We were talking before about kind of these being like courses or something like that. I think I've got the dessert version of the horror story here, just a little lower key, but it's a rookie mistake that I've seen made many, many times over the years.
All right.
This comes to us through the RPG Horror Stories Reddit. This is posted by user Cursed Valeth. That's cursed with a K, KURSED _VALETH. DM 5e doesn't understand the history skill is how this is headed. But I feel like it has application beyond merely the history skill.
Oh my God, wait. Pause real quick. I almost picked this one.
Yeah, okay,
I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. So this should get some discussion going. Yeah, so I'm thrilled that Josey and I are on the same wavelength on this. So this is DM5e doesn't understand the history skill. Short minor one as a palate cleanser from the real bad horror stories. My DM makes us roll history checks for any of our characters' memories. Me, hey DM, it's been a few sessions and I can't recall. What was the name of the NPC's daughter again? DM, roll a history check. Me.
Come on.
Well, it's been 3 weeks for us. It's only been half an hour for my character. He would know this easily. DM, well, let's see. Roll a history check.
Come on.
For added context, I was an avid note taker even before this, but now I'm having to basically write everything he says because I'll never know when my character will potentially forget how to breathe due to a bad roll. The extra shitty thing about being his stenographer is that it's taking me out of the game while I scramble to make sure I have everything down. In case you're a DM like this, per the PHB, quote, your intelligence history check measures your ability to recall lore about historical events, legendary people, ancient kingdoms, past disputes, recent wars, and lost civilizations, close quote. Not, does the character remember how to tie their shoes or who their father was? So it's not, anybody getting punched at the table, but this is like a death by 1,000 cuts thing, right?
Can we still punch him?
Ducks, right? I don't know about punch him, but like that's more just like a little, just kind of a bunch of little slaps is what that would feel like when you're playing, I think.
If a DM tried that to me, that's when I would become maliciously compliant.
Oh, do tell, please.
I 100% be like, doesn't your NPC need to roll a history check to see if they remember that thing that I just told them 10 minutes ago? Oh, well, why did I have to do it then?
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Yeah.
Malicious
Turn that back around.
Is fine.
Yeah, every character is now Dory. This is...
It's like, well, if you're using a history check as that, everyone should have to be doing that.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. Like that's like, don't look at your notes. Don't look at your notes.
Then why the fuck did I take them?
Right. And this kind of goes back again to our metagaming episode, which you can find at curmudgeonsanddragons.com/28. I know we keep referencing this episode mostly because for us, in the time we're recording this, it kind of just came out. So I will not be referencing episodes beyond that. But this is, again, like, the reverse metagaming where the player, where the DM is asking the player specifically for out-of-game knowledge to bring into the game. When, like, the character would absolutely know that, but the player may, it might have been a week or two or however long she said it was.
Yeah, and man, it just goes to that thing where it's like, only ask for a check if the results are uncertain and interesting.
And possible.
And it's
which
like,
doesn't come up here much, but
I mean, before when we were off mic, we were talking about like, other versions of this where it's like, what do you guys want to do? Well, I think we're going to cross the street and go to the, go to the tavern.
Yeah.
Okay, make an athletics check. Yep.
I gasped. Oh, sorry. You're going to have to make a check for that.
Yeah.
The tavern is 34 paces away. Give me 34 athletics checks. Shoes untied, disadvantage on all of them.
Oh, you're sipping on your ale? Constitution check to make sure you didn't choke on it and it went down the wrong pipe.
What color is her dress? I don't know. Make a perception check.
Right.
For me.
It's like, well, my passive perception, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you might get that wrong.
And this goes to the point you made on the metagaming episode, where it seems to only really be things like charisma checks, where the DMs treat it backwards, where they want them to role play their way into a check rather than the reverse.
Yeah, and boy, Josey's point about malicious compliance and the fact that almost never goes both ways when DMs are sticklers like that.
Oh, why would it?
Is a very good.
Why would it ever? I don't see the reason.
I'm
to
God.
do that
I don't
at
have to
all.
do it that way. It's like, bitch, these are the rules of your universe. You're the god of your universe. Obey your own laws.
You have laid this down. Yes.
It is written. It is known.
It's bad enough we got to deal with characters that have completely made up names.
And there's that too. Exactly. Yes.
I'm bad with names that I hear every day. Okay. If your name is Bill, I'm probably going to forget your name is Bill.
I still don't know all the names of the people I work with. They keep giving me drinks to bring to. They're like, oh, bring this to like John. I'm like, and
I'm
John is.
Oh,
he works in the kitchen.
May not be a John here.
Okay, like 12 people work in the kitchen. Which one is he?
You want to know a really weird one? And I can't even believe I'm admitting this on a microphone for the longest time. And I think even currently.
You're fine with admitting this on a microphone.
Still currently, for some reason, my brain has the same wires being run to the names Chris and Eric. If your name is Chris or Eric, I have absolutely called you the other name at some point. They're not that similar. For some reason, my brain sees those as the same name. Maybe you should make me roll some sort of check to see if I'm getting your stupid name right. But
I mean, I've reached the point in my life where I just say to people, sorry, remind me your name again.
And I do that
just
a lot.
To start the conversation, just so that I don't, get like the last time that I introduced someone who was an actual friend of mine to somebody else using the wrong name. Like that was the point where I said, you know what, this is a problem and I need to maybe, but especially that where
I have found two ways of getting around this. Number one, make sure you have somebody, close with you at all times. My fiance has gotten to the point where she knows that if I introduce her to somebody, that means she needs to get that person to say their name out loud for me.
I don't know, man. That's laying that emotional labor on someone else's.
She just knows that it's got to get done. So like if I see someone whose name I should know and they're like, oh, Jason, how you doing? I'll be like, oh, hey, what's going on? Have you met Kara? And she'll put her hand out and just kind of like, and she'll be like, oh yeah, well, and you were? And then I got to listen real close. The other thing I do is when I'm meeting somebody new, they'll say, hi, my name is Jim. And I'll be like, cool. I'm probably going to forget that within seconds. Not because I'm forgetful, but because I don't respect you as a person to remember your title. And they think I'm joking and it all works out well. We have a great laugh over it. Meanwhile, I get to, remind them of
I'm a simple
exactly how bad I am. And not bad at remembering names, bad at being a person interacting with other people.
But in particular, that thing that the poster says about, dude, it's been 2 weeks for us.
Yes.
But 15 minutes for my character. Like it would be one thing if like in game you had met this person a month ago and, like the whole world had, like you'd been through like a, I don't know, some kind of dragon revolution since then or something like that. And so trying to remember this one shopkeep's name, sure, whatever. Maybe maybe you have to consult something or make a check. But like if only 20 minutes of in-game time have passed, just give it to him. I feel like that's entirely reasonable.
It's not reasonable. Sorry, can I get a history check for that?
Yeah.
What are your favorite instances of like asking for a history check? Not just like for campaigns that you've run. Was there anything like fun? Because I feel like history checks is just like, oh, well, we've been in this library for 6 days in this game. does anybody actually know any information on this before I pull down another whole shelf of books?
Like the thing that I have come around to really liking history checks for is, as opposed to like when a player says, give me that information, can I make a history check on it? If it's information that's essential to the game, I give it to them. Like if they make the history check, then they can get a little something extra, right? That helps out with it or something like that. But what I really like to do is to, if they make the history check, say, why don't you tell me? What is,
make your own lore, bitch.
Exactly. Do a little bit of, it's the, if you've ever played the Powered by Apocalypse game, Dungeon World, it kind of turns that on its head where you can, instead of like a history check, it's called spout lore, where you make the roll and then you get to say what goes on with it. And I've imported a lot of that into 5e. If it's essential information that I know, because it's, specific
that sounds
campaign
like
lore.
That sounds like a stat for info dumping.
That sounds like collaborative storytelling, like it's supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I really like to do. And absolutely every campaign and every DM is going to have things where like, okay, no, this is locked in. I know what this is going to be. And, and maybe
like actual plot points. Yeah,
exactly. Maybe that history check means they learn it a little earlier than you thought you were gonna, but maybe it's like, they're like, I'm going to do some research on that. And you're like, I have no goddamn idea what's going on with, the merchant princes from 100 years ago. Let's just collaboratively make that up. And if we come up with something cool, we can work it into the ongoing campaign.
I like that a lot.
Just being open to that is what you do with that. But
yeah, because just the typical, like, do I recognize this ruin? Do I know, is there a seedy underbelly to this town that I know about, that kind of thing? And then based on your background, maybe they'll set the DC a little bit lower. But
most of the time in game, when I'm making a check that could be a history check, my DMs tend to go for insight instead. Or like I'll suggest like, oh, can I make an insight check? Like instead of being like,
such as
like if it's information that I think that I would know about, like a piece of not a piece of magic armor or something, because that's still an arcana, but like I don't really know the functional difference, I guess, between insight and history. Like how are they not interchangeable?
I think insight would be like, what is this thing, and history is what do you know about this thing?
Okay.
Is that the most dumbed down I could possibly make it, Jim?
I mean, I've always thought of insight as what can you figure out about people that you're talking to and people that you're dealing with, and history is like information, right?
Okay.
So
I store
like,
those both in the same category of my brain.
Sure. So like if I'm talking to someone and I want to know, why are they really here talking to me when we've just met? Like what's their motivation in talking to me? That's insight. What does that brooch that they're wearing, what's the historical, what's the significance of that? What do I know about that? Whatever the brooch that merchant guild represents, or something history, like that. Yeah. That's a history check. So,
like going into a shop and you see like a sigil on something that hasn't come up before, but maybe someone's character knows what that's from.
But
maybe wearing that thing in this area might not be a great idea.
But Josey, good for you if you can get the DM to, if you can make the case that's like, I really feel like I should be rolling insight on that, which I have a plus 12 on instead of history, which I only have a plus 4. That's if you can sell that, go with God. That is fantastic, because that's what you should be advocating for if you can make it make sense at all.
Well, again, I store information about people I know and also subjects I am interested in the same part of my brain.
Sure.
So I'm like, what? Those are the same thing. I have insight into this historical anomaly.
Okay.
So let that be a lesson, adventurers, to always gaslight your DM into making whatever roles you think you would succeed at the most.
Yeah, just be a brat about it.
But I completely see that as that, like that's completely legit. But it's like, like what date did this revolution occur? Like that's pretty much a history roll. But
fair.
Why did the people, revolt? What was the thing that was bothering them? Then, yeah, you could maybe argue that that's an insight check based on, what you've read about and stuff like that. So sure, why not?
Yeah, but what shops did I get this at yesterday? That's not a history check.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, Jim, I'm fuming over the story. This is so
well, excellent.
stupid.
That's good.
Stupid.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, no, it's dumb, and it's dumb in a different way than some of the
my God.
Interpersonal
it's
problems that we've had.
harmless dumb.
I mean, I guess.
Physically harmless. It's not like one of those like, this is not a not safe for work one.
Listen,
exactly.
If your bar for harmless only means that there was no sexual assault in this story, you got to raise your bar a little bit.
No, I mean,
listen, I'm a woman operating in the world. That bar's got to be pretty fucking low for me to be able to be in society.
Oh, yeah, entirely.
Fair. And I hate that that's fair.
And it is a certain amount of kind of credential checking, right? That's just sort of constant through the entire game, rather than just giving you the information. It's like, well, roll to make sure you deserve to know this kind of thing. It just that would get annoying real quick. That was just a terrible game.
Now, what is totally okay is at the start of a session, DM sits down. Okay, cool. Someone tell me what happened last week. And
recaps
all the players who don't take notes are just like, that's your job. Fuck those players. Okay. But like in your story, you had a good noodle who was taking copious notes and was the one being punished over it. So check your players, make sure they're paying attention, but don't punish the good ones.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Agree.
I think that's it for today because I got to go work out this anger on a punching bag or something.
I'm going to have another cup of tea over it.
Same thing. I'm going to go punch a cup of tea. Jim, thanks so much.
You're very welcome.
All right. And Josey, just because you're in England doesn't mean you get to drink tea over everything from now on.
That's what you think. You're right.
But
sometimes
it does, I think.
I work at a place called Boston Tea Party, so sometimes I drink coffee.
The implications of a British tea place calling themselves Boston Tea Party.
It's my favorite. I literally stopped in the middle of the road the first time I saw it to take a picture.
There's so many implications to that. We're going to talk about it off mic because I have nothing good to say. Guys, thanks so much for listening. We do this every single week. Check out curmudgeonsanddragons.com. We'll see you next time. Cool. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for listening to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Please share this with your favorite adventurers. Leave a review on Apple and follow us on social media. All links can be found at curmudgeonsanddragons.com. Practice safe adventuring, my friends.
This has been a JTP Audio podcast. Thanks for listening.